Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's webinar. We're going to be looking at uh, performance statistics of AutoChartist and how to use the performance statistics to identify the most likely successful trading opportunities. My name is Ilan Asbel. I'm one of the founders and currently the CEO at AutoChartist. I'm absolutely delighted to be giving today's presentation. We do these presentations twice a week now. We used to do them once a week. But now we've added some more time zones into our webinars due to the popularity of the webinars. So I think you'll find them happening. I think it's every Tuesday and Thursday, but keep an eye on our webinar schedule on our website. If you don't get that, email us at support@autochartist.com. I have Errol on the line with me. He's going to be helping me out with answering some text questions. While I focus on the presentation, if I do see any questions come up and catch my eye, then I will try to answer them during the presentation. So please feel free to ask questions as we go along, and I'll try to attend to them as soon as I can. This webinar will be about 30 minutes in length. So I hope you get some value out of it. Okay, let's go. So you all came to this webinar to try and see how you can use AutoChartist to identify the best trading opportunities, right? So what you're seeing in front of you right now, obviously, is the AutoChartist application, the web application. Depending on the platform that you use, you might see the results in a slightly different format, but the information should be pretty much the same. So you're presented with a whole array of trading opportunities, and there's many different theories as to how one should actually trade these opportunities. There's many different ways. We have a webinar we present, which is on which indicators to use in conjunction with support and resistance levels to try and increase the probability of success. For example, you might look at other fundamental indicators to give you a better indication of whether you think the trade will be successful or not. But what we're going to be looking at today is really purely looking at the statistics around AutoChartist itself without any external influences, indicators, or other kind of macroeconomic or fundamental news. And we do that by looking at the performance statistics section within AutoChartist, and I'll show you how to do that. but the first thing I've got to explain to you is how we measure performance at AutoChartist. So the measurement of performance is not based on how much money you make with AutoChartist. That's because many of you trade with different exit strategies. Some of you trade with trailing stop losses. Some of you trade with stop losses and take profits. Many of you, and I know who you are, no, I'm kidding, are naughty and do not trade with stop losses. You guys just watch your screen and wait to close the trade when you feel like it. But because of those different exit methodologies, we can't actually use that when we analyze the performance stats. So instead, what we do is we give ourselves a correct mark or an incorrect mark if we hit the target region that we have provided. Okay, so in this situation, if USD/JPY crosses 124.66, we say we made a successful forecast, right? So the time horizon within which we allow ourselves to make that level, right, is actually what we call the pattern length. Okay, so this is one pattern length, and if the price hits that region, the forecast price within the pattern length, that's when we actually say yes, this was a correct or incorrect forecast. And let's look at one or two more examples. That was a resistance level, what we call an approaching resistance level, right? So the price is not yet broken through. Here is an example of a breakout pattern, right? So we can see that there's very, very strong resistance and support at this level. right? And there's been a breakout, and we think the US dollar, the Singapore dollar, is going to 141.08, right? So now, if the price moves up through that level within one pattern length, then we give ourselves a tick mark and we say, yes, that price, that forecast was a good forecast. Okay, so that's just in brief how we actually, decide whether we've made a correct forecast or an incorrect forecast. While we're talking, you may have noticed that we've got some new opportunities that have just popped up. We can see that through the little orange exclamation marks. Here's an example on CAD Swiss franc. We think is going down to 0.7448. Okay. Now, those are two examples of what we call key levels, right? Those are support and resistance lines, right? The identification of support and resistance lines. We also provide similar information for chart patterns, but we only provide them for what we call breakout chart patterns, right? And what I mean by breakout chart patterns is that the price is broken through support or resistance. So what I want to do is I want to highlight you to this filters section within the AutoChartist application, right? And you can view that filter section through this little results filter over here. Now, what you'll clearly see right now is that there are a few checkboxes that I have not checked, right? That is because those checkboxes, that's in all the Fibonacci patterns and the emerging chart patterns, we do not offer performance statistics for. Now, you may ask why we don't offer performance statistics for those types of patterns. Let me show you a very simple reason why. Let's just look at an emerging chart pattern example on GBP JPY. You can see that we forecast the price down, but the level is constantly changing. So it's very difficult for us to decide whether we made a correct forecast or not, because the support level is constantly changing. So the emerging chart patterns are simply to tell you that the price is trading within a trading range. Many people do trade them, of course. They trade between support and resistance, and those are called swing traders. But we cannot offer reliable performance statistics on that because of these moving targets. Similarly, if we're looking at Fibonacci patterns, Fibonacci patterns are a little bit vague and more of an art than a science. There are a lot of lines in Fibonacci patterns. Okay, so when trying to figure out how to offer performance statistics on Fibonacci patterns, we'll always ask the question, which line should it hit to say that the performance was good, because there's so many lines. And that's one of the problems I personally have with Fibonacci patterns, is that, my theory is if you draw a lot of lines, it's bound to hit one of the lines, right? So again, it's very difficult to offer reliable performance statistics on Fibonacci patterns. So instead, what we do is we provide performance statistics on the opportunities on which we actually provide a target price that we're going to, and those are completed chart patterns, breakout key levels, and approaching key levels. With that having said, let's switch over to the performance statistics section of AutoChartist and actually try and figure out which are the good ones and which are the bad trades to follow. So let's look at this example on CAD Swiss franc. You can see this is CAD Swiss franc, a 60-minute pattern on a support, emerging, what we call an approaching support pattern, right? It's approaching the support level. Okay, CAD Swiss franc. So now we switch to our performance statistics and we look at the approaching key levels heading on CAD Swiss franc, and we try and figure out where CAD Swiss franc is on this list on the right-hand side. Okay. So what these performance statistics tell us is that over the last 6 months, CAD Swiss franc, our forecasts on CAD Swiss franc for emerging key levels hit their forecast 38 out of 61 times, right? Which is a 62% hit rate. Okay. Now, before I carry on, I need to give you a little disclaimer, right? Because otherwise my lawyers are going to murder me. These statistics are based on past performance, right? It's a moving window of 6 months. They might not be indicative of future performance, right? Market dynamics change. So keep that in mind, that these statistics are based on the past performance, right? And obviously don't cater for future upcoming market changes. So I happen to choose a very bad example there, but I want to show you that with regards to key levels, approaching key levels, over the last 6-month window, we identified around 2,600 opportunities, of which just over 2,000 actually hit their forecast region, which is about an 80% hit rate. Okay, and we provide a full breakdown with regards to which symbols have had the highest success rates, right, in terms of forecasting. The intervals with the highest success rates. So, for example, the daily patterns, although they happen very infrequently, only 65 of them over the last 6 months, right? That's 10 a month, about 1 every 2 days. But 91% of them hit their target region. All right? We give a breakdown by the hour of the day. We can see certainly, I'm in New York time over here, so we can see certainly that the very early morning in New York, or kind of during the London session, the approaching chart patterns do really well. So we give a complete breakdown with regards to which opportunities are good, which opportunities are bad. Now, what I always tell beginner traders is actually make a printout of this page, right? Just right-click on the page and click print, and make a printout and put it next to you, right? So that when you're looking at the trading opportunities section, and let's switch back there for just a moment, you look at an opportunity and you can quickly assess whether you think this should be traded or not. So let's look at this example on ORDCAD, 60-minute resistance. We look at performance statistics. ORDCAD, over the last 6 months, out of 54 opportunities that we've identified, 46 of them hit their target region. Now, that was a 60-minute pattern, right? So you can see that on 60-minute pattern, over the last 6 months, we identified 358, of which 289 hit their forecast region. Again, an 81% probability. Right? So that is, certainly a very interesting opportunity that one could look at, this ORD Swiss franc opportunity. If we switch back to the trading opportunity section, let's look at a different type of opportunity, right? Let's look at this opportunity on, actually I've already looked at CAD Swiss franc. Let's see if there's a different one we can actually look at. Euro CAD pennant. Okay, Euro CAD pennant. This is 0 candles old, which means it's very new. It occurred within the last few minutes. Okay, so EuroCAD pennant 60-minute, right? This is a completed chart pattern, right? So we go into the performance statistics. We look at the completed chart pattern section. Let me quickly have a look at that opportunity again. I apologize, everyone. EuroCAD 60-minute pennant. Okay, so I need to remind myself of that. EuroCAD 60-minute pennant. I look at the opportunities here. Pennant, something I first note, which I wanted to show you. Pennant is one of the worst performers that we have in AutoChart, right? Out of 689 opportunities identified over the last 6 months, only 350 hit its forecast region, right? That's just over 50%, right? So this might be something you might reconsider. EuroCAD, however, opportunities on EuroCAD in general, 140 out of 199 opportunities did actually hit their forecast region, about 70% accuracy. But certainly we've shown over and over again that pennant is one of the worst performers when it comes to statistics. The top performers, and this has been true since the very early days of AutoChartist, years and years and years ago, is Head and Shoulders and inverse Head and Shoulders. You know, I'm actually surprised to see Head and Shoulders below 80%. Normally it's above 80%. Right now, it looks like double bottoms are the star performers over the last 6 months. Although there were only 32 of them over the last 6 months, 29 of them hit their target region successfully. Right? So one thing I want to show you with regards to the chart patterns, not the horizontal support and resistance level, so this is chart patterns, is there's a very, very distinct increase in probability when you trade the European session. Okay, so again, my auto chartist is set to New York time, and these stats are giving in GMT -4, right? So you can see very clearly that the statistics around early morning New York time or midday UK time, the stats are much, much better, significantly higher than the statistics of chart patterns during the midday to late New York time. Right? And there's actually obviously a clear reason for that. The reason obviously is that London is the center of the Forex world and not New York. So it's important to keep that in mind. During the London session is when all the volatility, all the big movements actually happen. You can actually quite clearly see that within AutoChartist itself. If you go to volatility analysis, this is the volatility analysis of euro dollar, for example, you can actually quite clearly see that the majority of the volatility happens during the European session, right? A lot of volatility initially during the open of New York, and then the volatility decreases quite dramatically. So again, keep in mind that the volatility and the center of the Forex world is London and not New York, right? So back to performance statistics. So I've shown you an opportunity on Forex chart patterns approaching and breakout key levels, right? So now you're probably wondering, Ilan, that's a lot of clicking to go, between a lot of clicking, to go from the trading opportunity all the way through to the performance statistics, and reference things and try to remember what's going on. Now, yes, there is actually a reason for that. The reason for that is actually a regulatory reason. AutoChartist is a chart pattern identification service and support and resistance identification service. We are not an advisory service, and all we do is we automate recognition of chart patterns and support and resistance. So we are classified more as an educational tool rather than as an advisory service. And so it is important for us to present our results as support and resistance rather than as trading opportunities. However, there are some brokers, obviously, which fitting in under their regulatory umbrella are able to provide a more advisory type of environment through AutoChartist, and that's what I'm going to show you in the next bit of this presentation. Is that if you're lazy and you don't want to combine trading opportunities with performance statistics, all you have to do then is look at the Our Favorite section. Okay, if you look at the Our Favorite section, you'll be able to see the opportunities that AutoChartist believes is the most likely to hit their target region. Okay, so the way we do this is AutoChartist takes the trading opportunities, combines that with the performance statistics, and actually creates a list of opportunities for you with a minimum probability of hitting the target region. Again, to appease the lawyers, is that these opportunities and these opportunities are based on past performance, right? Past performance may not be indicative of a future performance. So let's look at an example. Okay, so here's an example on AUD US dollar. This is an example on AUD US dollar, 4-hourly pattern, 4-hourly candles. We provided a forecast of 0.7449, and we have at the bottom here some explanation of how we derived the probability of 79%. Okay, so the pattern, which is an approaching resistance, over the last 6 months, 1,171 patterns out of 1,400 hit their target region, right? That's a 79% probability. The symbol, AUD-USD, 53 out of 61, and the time of day when it was identified, which is 8 a.m. New York time, 132 out of 170, 78% over the last 6 months. Combine those all together, we get a probability of 79% of hitting its target region of 0.7449, right? Okay, so you know, it doesn't mean that these things are going to go right. I mean, here's an example on our Euro GBP. We can clearly see that AutoCharts provided a forecast up to 0.7187, and initially after the forecast, the price started moving in that direction, and then it turned around, and now you know, is back down again. There was a pullback. It doesn't mean that the price is going to potentially, it might not continue down, right? It might bounce again and go to 0.7187. But here's a typical example to show you that just because there's a high probability of these forecasts hitting their target region doesn't mean that they're actually going to do that. And so it is important for you to, you know, to not trade these as signals, but to trade these as another indicator for you to add to your arsenal of making a trading decision. Now, one of the, of course, well, let me actually quickly pause there for a moment, because many of you might not be forex traders. Many of you might be traders of other instruments. For example, we have the same information on the New York Stock Exchange, right? So again, filtered by the probability of trading. So if you're trading New York, and I'm still, you know, new to the US, and I'm still getting my head around the absolutely massive amount of instruments in the US. Now, if you're looking to filter, in a good place to start looking at potential trades is this our favorite section, because it filters down quite quickly, you know, what the opportunities you should be looking at from a technical perspective on the markets. Similarly, for futures, so you know, all types of opportunities for you, you know, really independent of the market you're trading. Of course, this screen that you're seeing right now is limited depending on which broker you get AutoCharters through, right? So some of you only trade with forex brokers, some of you only trade with equities brokers. So depending on the instruments that your broker provides you, you would get the list of groups and instruments that that broker provides. Now, what I wanted to do there, I clicked away for a reason, of course, is because I wanted to show you how some of the opportunities we looked at earlier actually come up on this our favorite screen. So I don't know if you all recall these two opportunities we looked at, the CAD Swiss franc and the AUD CAD opportunities. Here they are on our favorite screen. So although CAD Swiss franc, remember, was a low probability for the symbol itself, 82%, it looks as if the pattern, right, the approaching support and the time of day on which it was identified have completely overwhelmed the poor statistics of the symbol, right? And so we still provide a 79% probability of this instrument hitting its target level. Okay. Timo is asking me which equity brokers offer AutoChartist. Timo would be more than happy to provide you a list of that. However, this webinar is independent of any brokers, so I'm not permitted to give you broker names because we have visitors from many different brokers. If you could send us an email to support@autochartist.com, and we'll be more than happy to provide you a list of brokers that offer analysis on equities, as well as a list of brokers that provide analysis on CFDs, which are basically derivative instruments on equities. So if you can just email us support@autochartist.com with your question, we'll be more than happy to come back to you with a list of brokers. Okay, so I see a question from thanks, Timo. If you could just drop us an email, support@autochartist.com, or else Errol will pick that email up from the chat screen. So Christos has asked us a question. Can you explain us where where the stop loss is placed to any call, pattern, or key levels. Right. So Christos, this is obviously a absolutely a vital question. It's slightly beyond the scope of this presentation, but I think it does affect your ability to get good performance from AutoChartist. So what I want to do is give you kind of a rule of thumb that I use, right? Whenever I trade according to volatility analysis. The reason I trade volatility analysis is because it's important to understand what type of volatility to expect in a certain instrument at different times of day. So let's just say you were trading this Euro-CAD opportunity, and you want to know where to set the stop loss and take profit. Right? A good idea would be for you to look at the volatility analysis around this instrument to actually figure out where the price is going to be over the next, say, 15 minutes, 30 minutes, hour, 4 hour, and daily, right? And 24 hours. So that was an opportunity on Euro-CAD 60-minute, right? So what I normally do as a rule of thumb is I don't look at anything less than the current candle, right? So I completely discount those intervals, and I look at 1 hour later, 1 hour later. Normally, what I do is I actually look at I would discount the 1 hour as well, because I've also got work to do, and I mean I do trade more full time because but I have certain automated strategies that are running. Certainly I don't, like many of you, do other things for a living as well and don't have the time to actually sit and watch your screen every moment of the day. So I normally give myself a bit of room and I say, okay, what is the next interval? So what is the possible movement over the next 2 hours or 4 hours? And I use those levels over here as a possible indication of where to set my stop loss or take profit. Certainly, again, slightly beyond the scope of this presentation, but one of the things that you have to note with regards to especially chart patterns, but I think it's applicable to chart patterns and support and resistance, is that in many situations you actually see a bit of a pullback. So this is an example on GBP Euro, and this is 8 candles old. 8 candles old, meaning that this pattern was identified 8 candles ago. And you can see that it was identified 8 candles ago because of the little transparent candles we put in here. So when the price was around 140.80, maybe 140.64, we provided a forecast down to 139.85. Okay, and the price actually moved in this direction. It didn't reach it. It almost hit it, very close. Not a bad forecast, quite a big movement. But that was almost like a 90 pip forecast, 100 pip forecast, which is very, very good. What you see here is a pullback, right? So in many situations, what you'll find is that after a long period of downward movement or upward movement, you actually do get a pullback. Let me try and come up with see if I can click around and actually show you an example, a good example of what I mean. Oh, that one hit its target. That one also hit its target. That one hit its target. Getting a lot of opportunities that have hit their target. Okay, so we can see it over here. Here's an example where the price has had a significant run up, right? A significant run upwards. And now, as all things in the market, things don't just continue to go up and up and up all the time. They go up, they come down, right? So what you see is a pullback over here. So what you need to do when you're setting stop losses is actually allow yourself some movement to take a little bit of pain on the downside before seeing a continuation in the trend. Okay. Having said that, of course, you can see quite clearly that when this forecast was made to go north, there was, I mean, obviously this is forecast based on resistance level, a very, very strong resistance. So once the price moves a little bit, you might want to start locking in some profits or setting your stop loss at this level itself over here, 0.7103. Okay, because clearly this is very, very strong support, and if the price breaks through this level, you might even think about taking a short position all the way down to kind of this level. I'll try and draw it as well as I can, because we can see again a lot of very, very strong support and resistance and consolidation at that point, right? So maybe taking a short position down to 0, 70, 40, right? So, setting stop losses and take profits is obviously quite a complex a discussion. And so, I think we do actually have a separate webinar just on that topic altogether. But right now, I think focusing on the statistics, I think, is the most important thing in this webinar right now. So I hope I've given you, so Christos, I hope I've given you a little bit of indication. Please go to our YouTube channel. We actually have recorded webinars of how to set stop losses and take profits using AutoChartist, and I urge you to watch those. Okay, so Rachel is asking, what is the best entry point? Do we enter the moment the pattern is completed? So that's a great question, Rachel, again. So there's many different types of traders out there. Some traders are what we call trend traders. Some traders are what we call swing traders. Trend traders trade the trend, right? If you're a trend trader and you believe what many what many teachers and education companies tell you, which is the trend is your friend, then you need to forget these emerging patterns and you focus on the completed and breakout patterns, right? And so when there is a breakout, you would obviously trade that as soon as possible, but of course you need to take into account other indicators, right? Add a moving average in or an RSI, and we have again a webinar about how to actually do that. But of course you enter as soon as possible. What I normally look at from an entry perspective is the quality of the breakout. So when you see an opportunity, look at the quality of the breakout. Right? If the quality of the breakout is good, that for me is an indication that this has actually been a psychological move through a support or resistance level. What this means that you can see that it was a very, very decisive move through that level, right? Now, let me try and find an example for you with a poor breakout quality. No, that was a good breakout. Again, a very strong breakout, so that's a good one. Getting a lot of good. Here's an example. So, for example, if you're looking at this here on GBP USD, you're looking at this opportunity on GBP USD, and there's been a breakout, right? AutoChartist says there has been a breakout, and clearly there has been, right? The price has moved through this resistance level. However, the breakout is quite small. You can see that the size of this candle is small in relation to the size of the candles in the rest of the pattern, right? If this candle broke through high up like this, then it will be a strong breakout. Now, what I would do in this situation over here is I wouldn't actually trade this immediately. What I would do is I would wait for one more confirmation bullish candle or a little bit more of a bullish candle to confirm the breakout, and then I would trade it, right? So AutoChartist is obviously a computer, right? AutoChartist gives the opportunity as soon as it's available. The nice thing is that this is GBP USD, right? So you don't have to wait for a whole day to see whether the opportunity is actually confirmed itself or not. You can wait a couple of hours and actually see has GBP USD really gone through the 156.24 level? Has it gone significantly through there? And then make your decision based on that. So yes, what you need to do is you need to just look at each pattern individually and decide on whether to trade immediately. Now, we have a comment here from John. John says he's making a suggestion it would be great to have more specific filter options for results, selecting specific time intervals, specific patterns. John, we actually do have all of those. This is just this filter section is just a very high-level overview section. If you actually go into your filter button over here, next to your search group, there is a whole array of advanced filters that you can actually search for. So, for example, you can search for just bullish or just bearish candles, continuation or reversal patterns, the minimum quality indicators, right? the types of patterns that you want to search on. You can do similar filters for Fibonacci patterns, as well as key levels, right? Um, so you can filter out by many different things. In fact, you can even create your own groups. For example, I have a group called Forex Majors, right? We just got the 4 or 5 major pairs, which I look at. So I look at these. So these are the ones I would look at as opportunities. So again, you can create numerous different types of searches to fit in with your trading style. So good. I hope that answered your question. Rachel, Rachel is asking, why do trading opportunities on the website differ from those identified by the MT4 plugin? Rachel, they should not differ at all. They should be completely the same. If you do see any kind of difference, please let us know, because the source of those opportunities are all the same. What may be happening is that you might be using an MT4 plugin through one broker and the web application through another broker, in which case the opportunity will definitely differ, because we use different data feeds for each broker. So if you could, they should be, well, anyway, what I'm saying is that they should be identical. If you're seeing something that is different, please let us know, and we will just drop an email to support@autochartist.com, and then we will help you resolve that matter, because I'm pretty certain it's not a technical problem. It's more of which versions of programs you're using, but we'd like to see that anyway, in case there is some kind of technical issue that we need to take care of. So please just send us an email, support@autochartist.com. Okay, so now I think my time is up. I've gone over my time. In fact, I've gone for almost 40 minutes now. I need to wrap things up before all of you get bored by my voice and fall asleep. I hope you found this webinar useful. Please join us for the next one, where Errol, I think, will be emailing everybody the link to the recording, and we'll be notifying you of the next upcoming event very soon. Thank you very much, everybody. Enjoy the rest of your evening or your day, wherever you are in the world. Goodbye.